once a profile is being developed, it is not only about what skills they have or what skills that one individual demonstrate that will determine whether the person will get promoted to the next level or not. It is the sheer character, like Vishal mentioned. It is the sheer character of being able to pull the new role that the person will be entering into to the perfection. So it is, so as leaders, as managers, when we are taking a judgment call on a person, it is not only in terms of how much he knows or how much she knows. It is not only about what are the skill sets that person might have or how good a person might be in their English, how well will they be able to, demonstrate or rather sell themselves. It is about what they actually do. What is it that the teams that they will be working with will be looking up to, or what is it that they can help us achieve? So of course, like every organization, we would also have the best interest of people in mind, of course, but also the best interest of our business in mind. And eventually a business needs to progress, and it can progress only through the right character. Skill set will get you somewhere, but then you need to also see how rare is that skill set. I would say that, in terms of hiring, when we're looking at people, we are looking for a bulk hiring of, let's say, 50 people, 60 people with similar skill sets. In these 50 to 60 people, some might be exceptional in terms of their scores, their ratings, what they have scored in their colleges, how much they're involved in extracurricular activities. Then they would be in these 50 people, maybe 20% would be of this lot that will be exceptional at all this. Then there would be 80% of the lot where we need to make a judgment call that, given the scores, given the rating, given the overall, academic record of the person, if I compare, it is not, we need to make a judgment call whether this is really going to help us in the future to build our team further. And this 80% of the staff, from my experience, what I've seen in 16 years is that this 80% would come up with 20% of people who would be performing probably not great in the beginning, but would have exceptional quality of character. They would be exceptional in the way that they take this personally to themselves and start working towards building their skill set. These people, this 20% out of the 80 might just be the backbenchers for all you know, in their colleges, in their schools. But they take it upon themselves to actually, imbibe, to also learn, to observe, and then to demonstrate. And in this journey of, really making teams, I've been very surprised with this 20% lot, which actually really outshines all the rest. Character, the right ethics. They are making sure that, they are utilizing their time, their mindset in the best effort to develop themselves. And they're constantly in competition with themselves. When we review the year-end ratings or mid-year ratings, so in a corporate environment, we would always have either quarterly review with our people, or we will be doing a mid-year review and eventually the year-end review. In the quarterly review, it is generally, we are guiding, as managers, we guide these team members to put their strengths in the right direction. And the 20% lot that I'm talking about, which outshines all the others, is actually really listening to what the manager has to say. He is also listening to the feedbacks very, very carefully. And this 20% lot is making sure that they have noted these feedbacks down, And we are always surprised in mid-year reviews when they completely make a turn around in terms of, you know, what they have been performing and how they have been performing. They take feedbacks very, very seriously, and they work towards the feedbacks. Also, this 20% also reaches out to their peers for help, which means, you know, me, my friend, reaching out for help and not gossip, reaching out for the right material to help, you know, push the profile better, a person's profile better. And this 20% will also be making sure that they reach out to their seniors for help. So basically, they're actually looking at a lot of collaborations with not just their managers. So they're not somebody who would just only be around managers trying to impress them, saying that, you know, sir, 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 or ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. But these are people who really want to learn. They really want to understand, where did I go wrong? What can I do better? What are the opportunities? So generally, in a discussion, in the quarter one discussion, it is more on feedbacks. In the mid-year discussion, it is about more on turning around the situation. Quarter three, we would again be saying that, okay, from the turning around, you have either sustained or you have dipped. If you have sustained, it means that you're really serious about what you're doing. It was not just to you know, show us that in the mid-year review that, you know, okay, you told me I did this, and now you tell me something else and I'll do that as well. But it is about a consistent journey. Now, in the quarter three, if this particular person has reached a good consistency in the performance, in the quarter four, which is the year-end review, which is the time of promotions, hikes, increments, bonuses, such a person is in a much, much better position to be asking a manager, a leader, now what next? What is in it for me? What next? I have been through this journey. I have conquered whatever you had put across as a challenge for me. Is there something waiting for me? Can I go ahead and, you know, I would like to learn something new, or I would like to explore that option. Now, if you were to just say that, okay, you know, what about his skill sets? Maybe in quarter one, he wasn't that great, but he listened through. And eventually, none of the corporates right now are doing rocket science. The processes are pretty much, you know, simple in a way, but they need a good understanding. They need a good intention. They need integrity. They also need a lot of discipline. So with discipline, you would be able to achieve eventually that journey of quarter one, quarter two, quarter three to the end of the year review, where you would be actually delighting this manager who has been watching you all through this journey. Any organization or any person for that matter would be delighted to have such an individual in their team. The real life situation as leaders we face is sometimes our processes are limited. So which means that I can today offer this particular individual, this 20% of lot, probably something which would still satisfy their intellectual stimulation, which will satisfy their need to learn. But beyond that, maybe I have a limitation as a process to maybe not able to provide you anything further. Now, in this situation, what would I do as a leader? In this situation, I know that the person that I have with me, or rather these group of people that I have in my team, are quite deserving. I would not think about my team and the retention of this individual in my team only. I would think about a retention of this individual in the organization, because eventually it is not something I am just doing for myself. It is not something that I am only doing for my team and just grow my team and, you know, make it 100, 200. It is about what am I contributing to the larger organization. I would be providing a reference making sure that if I am not able to place the person as per their need or as per their aspirations, I would definitely create a reference point. I would make sure that I am a reference for this person, either when he's seeking out or if he's seeking within. If there are opportunities in the organization, we at a leadership level uh, come together. We have our quarterly, weekly, monthly meetings where we come together and then we discuss these star performers. We discuss the performance, we discuss, and here we're not discussing numbers he was given 500 records, or rather he was given this one study to be done and he performed the study to this extent. What we are discussing in these meetings is how well is this person doing in as collaboration. So how is the person's collaboration? How are his peers perceiving this individual? So peers meaning me and another friend of mine or another colleague of mine. How am I with my team members at the same level? How am I with my juniors? Am I being a mentor? Am I being approachable? Can you actually come and talk to this person? Are you able to guide as an individual? And then what we would also look at it is, so this basically all talks about collaboration. How collaborative are you? Collaboration need not be only till your team, but it need not be limited. Organizations run a lot of initiatives where they look for collaborations from team members. So for instance, if they have a corporate social responsibility, they would look for team members to participate. If they might have things like fun and frolic games and employee engagement activities, that is where they're looking for people to pitch in. They might have also innovation as an agenda, where they're looking at making their processes more lean, or rather processes more operationals, more optimum, and more process excellence. They're driving process excellence, and that's where you can contribute. So in an organization, eventually how you performed on that role is not the only thing which pushes you ahead. It is about all round. So it's an all round development. It is your personality at the end of the day. It is your skill set. Yes, your skill set can get you really far. But if your skill set is not backed by the right mindset, if it is not backed by the right behavior, if it is not backed by integrity, it would not get you far. It will get you till somewhere, maybe a couple of promotions, but eventually we would not want to work with people who know so much but they just cannot collaborate with anyone. Nobody wants to work with them because they're such a ruckus. Nobody can trust them because they go behind the back. They will go and talk about you in a very negative light. They will talk about the organization in a very negative light. So in such a situation, this doesn't get you far, because excessive gossiping, excessive talking behind the back and creating a negative image of somebody is eventually not a negative image of that person, but you're creating a negative brand for yourself. So you guys will be actually joining organizations. You will also be going for interviews. This is a key that an organization looks at. The key to success in any organization is how well you're able to do things. It's about how you are able to do things, or how you are doing things. What is your style of doing things, rather than what you are doing? Because organizations no more hire people for the what, they hire people for how they would be performing at the end of the day. Because again, it's not something which is on a conveyor belt, where we are in a manufacturing industry and things are on a conveyor belt and every situation is same. Situations change, like Vishal mentioned. Coronavirus, COVID has changed the whole outlook in terms of how corporates are looking at business as such, how they are looking at the style of working. Suddenly the style of working has changed from office to home. Now, how can you change, make such a big change in your organization without being able to trust your people? So today, if in my team, I do not trust, let's say half of the team, that they would be performing the activities, they would be utilizing their time correctly, they would be ensuring that the work is delivered with client delight. In such a case, I have really failed as a leader, and I have also not hired the right people in my team. I would definitely be looking at making sure that I have created a plan to get them into an improvement plan, and eventually if they do not improve, then also to not have them in the team anymore. Because again, it is these choices that are important. We do work with HR very closely to observe these behaviors in case it is, if the performance is something maybe in front of me, but the moment I have moved out of that environment, the performance changes. So like they say, when the cat is not in the house, mice make merry. So in front of the leaders, the behavior is one, and once the leader is away, the behavior completely changes, and then it is not also an optimum behavior. So also a key to a ethical behavior, integrity, is that we are doing right things not only in the presence of people, but we are also doing the right thing even when nobody is around. And again, as leaders, we would always get to know eventually what was done at the end of the day, because this performance would not really hide for long. And this again, if it becomes a habit, if it becomes something that is demonstrated in larger forums, you then would be sitting and comparing. That is where you would be able to catch the negative behavior. So yeah, we have been recruiting a lot of new joiners. I know that it is a very different generation, a generation very different from ours. I would say Vishal and I, a very different generation altogether. Our priorities were different. This generation's priorities are very different. What drives the generation is, of course, the salary. It is a big driver in terms of, okay, how much am I getting paid? They are very concerned about the profile also, which is a good thing, which is a positive that I see in the current generation. But again, I do sense a bit of rigidity when it comes to being able to take feedbacks. And this becomes again a big differentiator. And I would suggest then, since you all of you are currently in your learning phase, to take this as a note that a behavioral demonstration, how you're demonstrating, how you're behaving, how you're exuberating positivity, is actually the key differentiator for any sort of growth. Nowadays, organizations, compared to how it was before, are not limited to timelines. So which means it is not a straight jacket that in 3 years I'll get promoted to from analyst to a senior analyst. In 3 years, then I will get promoted to assistant manager, and then I'll get promoted to manager, and then see, nobody. Now these timelines don't exist in most of the organization. It's about performance. It's about character. It's about, what are you demonstrating as individuals? And actually, if you have the right mix of a good competency, and competency is not only skill, but it is about how well you're able to manage your environment. If you have the right mix of competency and the skill set, then it is your growth is assured. People are looking for really young minds who are very eager to learn, who are very eager to upgrade themselves, who want to understand what are organizational core issues that I can solve at my level, who want to learn and eventually embrace whatever comes their way as learning. So that is my 2 cents on ethics. I think integrity, luckily, I would say, thank God, integrity is coming back into fashion. It is no more only about what you can do. Actually, we as a country are breeding so many engineers, so many doctors, so many professionals, so many computer engineers, that it is actually no dearth for us to be able to replace somebody if the behavior is bad, if the behavior is not as per what the organization needs. Hence, it becomes even more important for you to create your brand value. Just like whenever we think noodles, we think Maggie. Similar to that, you would need to ensure that whenever somebody says good performer, it should be Amarendra, Rishi, Praveen. I just see these names on the screen, but yeah, this is what they should see as great performers. So the brand image is a very, very key to any sort of success in life. This is how things used to be probably in our grandparents' generation, where they said, okay, इज्जत सब कुछ होती है और and you know, नाम खराब नहीं होना चाहिए. It is the same thing today as well in corporate. Make sure that you don't give a dent to your brand image. And that you're very, very mindful. You're very mindful of what brand you're creating for yourself, because the news spreads like wildfire. If I know today that this guy has really wronged me, I'll make sure that my 10 peers know that please don't hire this person for this role. Similar to that, if I know that this is an amazing performer, but maybe I'm not able to give him more salary, or I have a limited, you know, need, and this performer is actually looking out for better opportunities, I will make sure that 10 of my peers in the industry know that this guy is great, and the moment they have an opportunity, they make sure that they get this person gets hired. So again, it works both ways, a good brand and a bad brand. So yeah, I will pause if there are questions. If anybody wants to share their perspective, if you want to ask me
I unmuted everyone, and there was a lot of ruckus around. So I'm sorry.
yes.
You'd asked for questions.
They can put it in the chat, and if you can read it out to me if there are questions.
I've allowed people can unmute themselves. Now it's instead of unmuting everyone, you can, in case you want to ask something, you can easily unmute yourself and you can ask. So Preksha, that was wonderful. Like what you taught, in fact, it was teaching. It was not a discussion.
Hello.
You showed new dimensions. Yeah.
I would like to ask a question can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
I'm audible. That's fine. Lecture is illuminating. I want to convey to who is the lady, and the good afternoon, madam.
Yes, hello.
Your lecture is illuminating, but many questions has risen in my mind because I grew up listening the managements from the higher management, various lectures, and definitely they help it out. But what I found even during my time, that the people, in spite of hearing illuminating lectures from prominent management gurus and all those things, they are not aware of their core values. And the lectures, what we hear, what we read about, that the vacuum remains there. As a matter of fact, the more vacuum is created there. The question is that how the core values we all the time remember or to infuse those core values in us in an organization where there are many more people who are working. Now, at times that we feel that we have the determination, we want to complete a mission, we'll carry on till the time that we complete. But even a person that who has been appreciated at times has failed. Now, what is that? Listening, all right, what do you suggest about it? What do you suggest? Something very simple in in the group, in the management, in the organization. What should they remind and how should they work about it? That day-to-day life, the passion for working, understanding the core values, and as per work corresponding to the integrity, people remember that, and the people are working in organization, come in a brief that these things are required. Why I'm requesting you? Because I feel there is a need of it. There is a need of it, and we got excellent team here. It's not that I have got a complaint against them, but the question is that how can we strengthen it?
Yeah.
I would like it very precisely, and that what you suggest about that they remember their core values, and day to day till they finish their work, there is a will to finish the work, whatever the duties have been assigned to them. What day to day life, what they should do.
So it's a good question, and I think we all stumble upon it as leaders. Um, One is how do I make others work? How do I ensure that this is as per the value that I seek, or rather, what was taught to me probably in an IIM lecture, and all the leadership trainings that I've been through. And I do understand. Understand your pain. The first point which I feel is very, very important is one is that I need to first of all demonstrate those traits in how I am behaving so that I can make sure that my team follows. If, for instance, and these are again my real time examples. So if my team feels that okay, I mean it's fine for her to walk in any time of the day, why should I not do that? I mean, let's say I have managers under me, so if the managers think that I mean she's walking in any time, why should that not be allowed? Then they walk in any time, and then their teams will walk in any time, because again it percolates. So first thing is to whenever you're demonstrating the behavior, that is the behavior the other person is imbibing. In order to again be able to make people understand, is to be able to talk. You need to have your chats, have your discussions, and these are very, very offline. So generally in my meetings that I have, I keep them very fluid. I don't have a very strict agenda that okay, I want to drive this with you guys, but it becomes a point of not only trying to tell them what to do, but also hear from them in terms of okay, what is it that they want improved so that they can perform what is expected. You need to kind of understand both sides of the stories also. And again, eventually it's completely a situation of a give and take. The values that we're trying to drive have to be visible for them to imbibe. So maybe I don't know if I answered your question, and I don't know if Vishal would want to add to it, but eventually I think there's just one point that stands out is practice what you preach, and involve your people. Your people are always important in the journey, and also evaluate your people. It is important for you to be able to sometimes also take a tough call of evaluation, but you need to consistently evaluate and share your feedbacks with them, because it's a character that you're developing at the end of the day. It's not a skill. I'm not here to just teach them, let's say, alphabets. It would be easy. we are trying to teach them meaning. So character is a journey, and it's a self journey also. So I was never, I have also, evolved as a leader, as a person, along the way, as I'm walking ahead. And mostly this evolution also came because I wanted to understand from people what are the things that I need to really work on. I needed their feedback also. So it's a 360-degree feedback that can help. One, because it would not only be about me trying to tell you something, but it will also be about me trying to hear something so that I can also improve. So I am very consciously thinking here, that it's not that all is great, uh, but I am involving them in the journey. It's not trying to percolate it down in a way that okay, it's pushed down, but it's really to be able to mingle. And that is how characters generally work. I mean, that's how you work with personalities rather than you say staff members. It's not staff members. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thanks, Preksha. That was very illuminating. Director sir was the one who was questioning. He's one of the
okay.
senior most person out here. He has a wonderful experience.
Yes, you had given the idea of what exactly that is. You are right, and what you said in day-to-day practices, what in our day-to-day life we'll try to remind people about their core values. They must remember the core values because most of the people have determination, good values and all, but at times that they fail to perform the task. Not entirely their fault. Not entirely their fault, but in the materialistic world, at times that a person loses due because of emotions and other things. And I won't call it exactly the way word, but to some extent, for some time, attention is distracted, and the time is that sometime what I'm talking about it, the time is very, very important, sometime. And that is what I wanted, that if some better doctrine is there, that the people continue working as per their core values, and they should remember it something. As you are telling that your lecture is it's a fruitful, illuminating, and they should remember it that the core values are remembered all the time, which keep the determination to complete the mission there. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. We are as an educational institute, definitely it becomes more important. One of the most integral portion any educational institute should have, that we should try to impart these values. And there were many things which I noted down, which I felt that again, life is again more of a journey. And at times when you are a spectator, you learn a lot. So I was a spectator, I got few insights. Thank you for all this, Preksha. It was wonderful. And we'll again call you. If you have spare time, definitely, hopefully you can come down. I thank you from behalf of all Vision staff. And it was
She's
a wonderful...
from Kanpur only or from outside?
I'm in Bangalore right now.
You're from Delhi?
No, I'm from Lucknow. I'm pretty much from Kanpur, Lucknow.
You're from the Lucknow, from the capital of UP.
Yes, but I'm based in Bangalore right now.
Got to be the Lucknow people should be superior to you because it's being the capital of UP. I rate you that way. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
It was great being part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In case anyone has any questions for Preksha Madam, you can send it to me. I'll forward it to her, and her profile you can go through. And hopefully, when our students pass out, and in case you want somebody, then you can maybe call them also, for hire them once in a while if they have developed characters and skills. Hopefully. So thank you for coming down. Have a great time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a safe
flight.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Right.